It's full-time devil. It's full-time devils. It's the Aston Villa preview. Let's get stuck into it. Stephen Howson's here, Dave Pritt's here, and Adam Mckola is here. Guys, welcome to the preview.
Yeah, I'm here as well, you know.
Oh, I don't know. I don't acknowledge you, Jay. Jay Motty's also here next to me. Full-time devils, Aston Villa preview. Dave Pritt's here, Howson's here, Adam Mckola's here, and this guy's here as well, Jay Motty. Let's get stuck in, guys. Best of the rested. Obviously, Ollie did rest a few players, or pretty much every single player for the game against Astana. So, should be fresh as out for this one, Jay?
Yeah, you'd think so. I mean, he took a complete reserve team to Astana. As I think most of us sort of thought that was a decent idea, to be fair, before the result anyway. So you'd think we'd have a full-strength team, and I think that's the right idea. We were debating this on the last preview about should we go for it in the league, should we go for it in the cups, whatever. But the league's your bread and butter, and Ollie's under that much pressure in the league that I think he has to try and win every game. And I think United at the moment are in a position where we can't afford to rest anyone. I think if we're already missing Paul Pogba. When we missed Andy Martial, you can see how much that affected us. If we lose like one or two players out of that squad, or out of the first team, we're in real trouble. So I don't think we've got that thing where we can rotate it. I think for the league, he has to pick his strongest 11. So when he did what he did in Astana, I thought it was the right idea. I thought it was a good idea to give the kids a run out. But also we need the likes of Rashford. We're weak in defence anyway without going into too much detail. But I think the resting the likes of Maguire, likes of Wan-Bissaka, we think Brandon Williams is probably going to start giving him a rest as well. It makes sense to me, as we look at it, as I said earlier, without Paul Pogba, that midfield is weak. If we were to take, say, Fred over there and he gets injured, then all of a sudden we're in all sorts of trouble. So I can understand why he did it, and I think he has to go for the league. And I think that with the players he's rested and the players that he's bringing back, we should have enough to beat Aston Villa.
Dave, did you like what Ollie did in the Astana game, playing essentially it was a school trip, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, I thought it was amazing. What an experience for me. Someone who follows the academy home and away. So actually, you go to a Euro away proper game and see all these academy players. 6 debuts, 3 of them from the bench and 3 of them starting. It was just an unbelievable experience. Just the result, really, that was a shame.
Hang on, Dave, did you go?
Yeah.
Right, sorry to spoil the magic here, but we're currently recording this preview 11 a.m. on the Friday, the day after that game. When did you get back? When did you fly back?
I got back about 20 to 7.
And how much sleep have you had, Dave?
Full sleep! Since Wednesday, about 3 hours.
Oh,
Dave, soldier.
Things you love to see. Absolutely love that, Dave. That's what supporting United is all about, isn't it? Howson, then, what did you make of what Ollie did in the week? Obviously, it didn't...
Sleep deprivation is what supporting United is.
Yeah, it is.
Sleep at the games.
Howson, what did you make of it then against Astana? Obviously, the performance maybe wasn't quite there, but there were a lot of positives in the first half.
Well, I really enjoyed the first half in particular. The second half, I don't really know. I haven't watched it back again yet, so I don't really know what pinpoint moment. Yeah, I'm probably not going to watch it back. Where it all went totally wrong, really. It looked like Deschamps Bernard was intent on scoring that own goal, though, didn't it? So he must have had a quid on himself for that. I enjoyed seeing the performance of some of the lads. Now, I see people moaning about this. I think people just want to fucking moan about everything, to be honest. What we saw was opportunities given. Ollie could do what he did because he'd already qualified from the group. So it didn't matter what he did. And it's good squad management that in a time when we're so short of players, it allows us to see some of the players that are coming through on the fringes. And it also allows us to rest the first team to stay back at home. I love that Luke Shaw's considered the second choice, possibly even third choice left back now. I find that very interesting. I think there's a lot more to go into on that front. I love that Brandon Williams, on performances alone in like a month, has become the first choice left back. I think there's other players that we saw yesterday, not all of them. There's not a prayer that every player who made a debut yesterday goes on and has a career at United. That was never going to be the case. That's never the way it goes down like that. But I think you've seen the first of hundreds of appearances from some of them players. I'd say Dylan Levitt has taken a massive step forward in what he can do in men's football, because I'm a big fan of Dylan Levitt. Me and Dave went all the way to Pissing Bangor in Wales to watch him against San Marino under 17s last year. And now he's playing first team for United. But you always had this worry about whether he had the physicality to cope against men playing men's football. Well, he played against a very physical team in Astana last night. And did it look like his physicality mattered a jot? 100 out of 104 passes completed. When was the last time United had a player complete 100 passes in a game? We haven't had that, I don't think, since Michael Carrick kind of days. The passing between the lines from him was absolutely sensational. The way he just kept hold of it and looked after it and recycled it, a really mature, really intelligent performance from one of the youngest players in the team. I thought Ethan Laird has shown that he's probably going to get Premier League minutes, probably substitute appearances, probably to just keep Wan-Bissaka fresh. But what a great opportunity to put pressure on and give competition for that right-back spot where we probably need it. And Joe, I think someone else that probably came on and did bits, I think Galbraith and Garner we all kind of know about anyway, but even like the likes of Damani Mella, Largi Ramazani, there was loads of players there that you go, okay, let's get your ass out on loan, and let's see what you can come back and maybe you can have the sort of trajectory that some of these lads that we're seeing at Chelsea are having now, because they're all 2 and 3 years older. You know, we even took someone like Teden Mengi, who's 17, away on that trip yesterday. Players like Teden's all over the England scene at the moment as a 17-year-old playing under 18s, under 20s. He's going to be a top professional one day for someone. Is that going to be at United? Well, we don't know. You know, we only have to look at Villa as an example of the way they react and respond to Axel Tuanzebe doing anything. You know, he went and proved himself over at Villa. Can his partner this week even, Deshaun Bernard, can he go get a loan somewhere? And can people start talking about him that way? United's academy is absolutely mint. And for anyone that goes, well, they play in the second division, right? You completely miss the point of an academy, and you completely miss the circumstances in which United found themselves with our academy. You need some mad array of circumstances to come together to win stuff at academy level. But ultimately, academy level is about producing players that are ready for the first team, and nobody does it better than Manchester United. 80 years of academy graduates coming through into the first team matchday squad without missing a single beat, especially through the dominant period that we had in the 90s and the 2000s. Not one matchday squad without an academy product in it tells you just exactly what this club is all about. And our attitude to what we did on Thursday night in Astana shows you what this club is all about, and possibly why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right kind of man to be leading this team at the moment.
Interesting. Adam, looking forward to the weekend. Are there any players you think that really needed that rest on Thursday and will be raring to go weekend?
Just on the youth thing, I think, like Steve said, I think people either go one way or go the other way. They either, this is amazing and it shows why Ollie's the best thing since sliced bread, or, oh my God, these lads are awful, why are we playing them?
That's every United shit. Topic ever.
It's like, yeah, it's really weird. Like, I saw a lot of people moaning yesterday, these aren't good enough. It's like, bruv, how do you find out if they're good enough or not if you're not playing them? Everybody that comes through at academy level, especially at Manchester United, is a talented player. Every single player is talented. They have potential. It's how you adapt to the men's game, both mentally, physically, and taking on all the pressures that entail being a Manchester United player. And I think it's unfair to have to, even with Tahith Chong, he's not been great for United this season, but he has deserved his opportunity based on 2-3 years in the academy, and people saying, why is he giving Chong so many chances? Why not Garner? Why not Levitt? Well, actually, Chong deserved those chances for what he's done previously, and Garner and Levitt will get chances based on what they are doing and will continue to do. And I just find it weird when people start comparing and contrasting youngsters and overplaying their performances. It's really mental to me. Can you imagine what Twitter would have been like after we lost 3-1 against Aston Villa? Now that's not to, in 96. Now that's not to say every single player is going to be a success, but fucking hell, relax a little bit. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to be a Man United fan, you have to expect that at times we're going to play youngsters and we're going to go for it. I remember being a kid crying because we lost against York City 3-0, but that's part of how it goes, isn't it? So just grow up a little bit, I think people have to do. As for the Villa game, it's more important than the Astana game. So it was right that we rested a lot of players. We need to get a performance and a result now, because you can't rest your first team and then come into this game and just have a lackluster performance. So we need to have a good performance, and the likes that needed a rest, Harry Maguire, I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka needed a rest. You're looking in midfield, just not having to force back McTominay, who may be available this weekend. Even Fred, who I thought did well. And then at Sheffield United, it was a combination of him not having a great game and the midfield around him being poor. But to see him get like maybe mentally a rest and then bring him back in fresher with a full first team will be good on Sunday. And the usual lads, Rashford, Martial, they all needed this rest, and I think we'll benefit from it, especially with this festive fixture list coming up. You know, you got Villa, Spurs, you got some tricky games coming up, Man City coming up. So it was important to get a rest in. It's just a shame we couldn't hold on to a result, because I think based on the 90 minutes against Astana, the youngsters probably deserved at least a point. It was just a tough lesson for them in taking your chances and, you know, coming up against teams that treat every single game against Manchester United like a cup final. And those are the differences, I suppose, from under 23s and the first team. Plus, you're playing against fully grown men in every single position. You know what I mean? When you're at 23s, yeah, you'll have one or two older players, but most of the players are your age, 16, 17, 18, 19. And it's like, when you're coming up then against midfields and players of 30, 35 or, you know, experienced heads, then it's going to be more difficult. So it'd be a good learning curve for them.
Don't want to over-exaggerate too much here, but I'll ask you this, Jay. Was that performance by Levitt against Astana better than any performance the likes of Pereira, maybe even Fred have put in all season?
All Scholes, ever.
It was better.
Ronaldo.
Bobby Charlton was at home watching. Jesus Christ, look at this.
Yeah, I wish I could have done that when I played for United.
Does feel like it was better than watching Pereira for me, though.
It's different levels, isn't it? Because,
I know.
You know, you could argue that, all right, Fred didn't have as good a game maybe perhaps against Liverpool, but he had a good game against a very strong Liverpool team. And he did the job that he was asked to do against Liverpool. So is that a better performance than the performance that Levitt put in against a much weaker Astana team? I mean, I don't know where...
Is Roy Keane in Turin anywhere near what we saw from Levitt in Astana?
It's Robbo Barca 84, Keane Turin 99, Levitt Astana 90. Those are the three debate topics. We'll run a poll on Full-Time Devils, yeah.
The t-shirt with that on.
We'll get your thoughts.
I can't believe you're even doing a poll. Here's the question. Which is the second greatest ever midfield performance after Dylan Levitt's in Astana? That's the poll.
Right, guys,
you can't put
get in the comments below. Get in the comments below. Let's see if you guys want to back me up on this. Was Levitt's performance better than any performance from Andreas Pereira this season? I won't include Fred in it because he has had a couple of decent games. Right, moving forward. Villa.
Give me comments, please. Oh.
This guy. Right, Villa at the weekend. Let's move forward. Is this a can't lose game? We're sick of saying it, Jay, because it feels like this is the case every week. But Poch is obviously in the background on Ollie at the minute. The pressure's building up. Just lost against Astana. Obviously,
Emery's available as well now.
Good God.
That'd be a nice sideways move from Ed.
Would not be a good
Emery
evening
as director of football
at all. Right, so what we thinking is it a can't lose?
Do you know what? In the eyes of the fans, it probably is. I think no matter what happens, if Ollie gets there was fans saying Ollie out after we lost in Astana, which is ridiculous in my opinion. And I think he's always going to be under pressure. If you lose back-to-back matches as a United manager, you're under pressure anyway. But if you lose matches, as you're under Solskjaer at the moment, then you're always going to be under pressure because his record in the Premier League hasn't been great, especially away from home. I know this is a home game. We've already lost at home to Crystal Palace, so he's always on that sort of knife edge. But I don't know. I think the board. I know you can't trust anything that Ed Woodward says. I think the board are going to back him at least until probably till summer. I think. If you look at it now, is Poch going to come in? And we're all talking about Pochettino coming in, aren't we? Is he going to come in and turn this club around and turn his team around before the end of the season? Is he going to get us into the top four? Is he going to win us a trophy, even though he's never won a trophy in his career, with this team right now, this season? Probably not. So I don't think it makes much sense for the board to panic and then show the hand and say, right, let's get rid of Ollie and get Poch in. I think the best thing to do would be to wait for the summer. So, listen, let's not kid ourselves. Like Mac was saying there, it's like one extreme to the other with the fans. If Ollie loses on Sunday, the fans are going to lose their mind and you're going to see Ollie out and everyone's going to be going fucking batshit crazy. But I don't think the board will panic. I don't think they will. I think they'll give it.
Isn't it? I think in this game a draw is basically a defeat.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from.
Because of the game that come after it, if we draw this game, lose against Spurs and lose against City, it's like 3 defeats basically. That's how it will be looked at. Well, 4 defeats on the spin because then Astana will just be coming into it, despite the fact of the context of the defeat. So, I think it's.
So do you think it's must win?
We have to lose this game.
You think it's
But I don't think we
must-win?
have to lose this game for there to be pressure on him. If we draw this game, there's going to be pressure on him again.
Look, we don't have to do anything for there to be a pressure on him.
He could win.
Spurs sacking Pochettino put pressure on him.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, he could win 1-0 and still be pressure on him. If the performance was shit, there'd still be people complaining. That's just the way it is. You know, we won 1-0 against Astana and everyone was calling for him to be sacked. I know Astana are different from Aston Villa. So he's always going to be under pressure. I just don't think this board right now are going to sack him. I mean, yeah, you look at those fixtures, Spurs, City, it's not great reading. And if you lose all them, then you're in all sorts of trouble. But I don't know. I think they probably give him to the end of the season. That's just what I think. I think they'll stick with him to the end of the season. I think you're going to see a complete meltdown on Twitter if we don't win. But I don't know. You can't go into everything on Twitter, can you? If Twitter had their way, then bloody hell. Do you know what I mean?
Let's not get into what's going to happen if Twitter had their way, seriously. But yeah, so if he doesn't win, obviously with the fixtures coming up, just how far are we along the sort of scale in terms of pressure here, in terms of close to him being sacked? Because you think he'll stay to the summer. But Dave, I just have this weird feeling that maybe not after the Villa game, but if he does lose the Villa game and then Spurs City coming up, we could be coming towards the end of Ollie's reign.
Yeah, I'm with Jay completely. I don't think they're going to sack him. I think they've
Hope you're right.
backed him completely. I mean, the fact they let Lukaku go and they've not got a out-and-out striker anymore, and they've stuck with that. They've not talked about getting another big striker in. I think they're going with Ollie's philosophy of the way he wants to play. And if you sack him anytime soon, it's a waste of time doing that. All that's going to happen is we're going to get another manager in, and it's going to go back to the way we were before Ollie. So I think the board are going to back him at least to the summer, if not more. It's not pretty at the moment. It's not great, but I think it's better football in the long run than it's been for the past 4 years. And I just can't see the board really sacking him. If they do, I just think they'd be outraged for half the fans because obviously Ollie's a legend and people won't want to see it. But can we get anyone in that can do better? I really don't think so, because they're just going to change it around again. I'm going to be back at square one. It just there's no answer to it unless you keep the manager and let him get on with it.
I know that football fans are quite reactionary as it is, but it does feel like on Twitter sometimes United fans particularly so. You'd think that a bad result against Aston Villa, a few of the fans who were on the fence might be shifting towards Ollie out and applying the pressure that way. And Howson, do you think that would be enough to sort of convince the board? Because we have seen them act on stupid things like that before.
No, I don't. Have we? When?
He's going to say that.
Did Van Gaal? Did Van Gaal deserve to get sacked?
We've seen the board knee-jerk, Steve, in terms that they appointed Ollie on a knee-jerk decision. So there's no.
I don't know if they did appoint him on a knee-jerk decision.
Yes, they did.
That was fan pressure that got him the job.
They were going to get rid of Mourinho no matter what. The fact that they didn't let him get the transfers they wanted.
They were going to get rid of Mourinho, but actually giving Ollie the permanent job was a knee-jerk decision based off emotion and based off results.
I don't think it was.
It was based on.
Anyway, that's not a knee-jerk sacking. Who've we knee-jerk sacked?
I wouldn't say it's been a knee-jerk sacking, but certainly knee-jerk decisions. However, did Louis van Gaal really deserve to get sacked?
You had Jose Mourinho hovering. That was why they did that. That wasn't knee-jerk, and that had been in the pipeline for 6 months.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got Pochettino hovering.
David Moyes was sacked the moment we couldn't get Champions League football. That wasn't knee-jerk. So what's the knee-jerk? Do you say they've acted on that before? Tell me what they've done that's been acted on something like that before. They've not. Now, if they did sack Ole, after not backing the guy in the summer, after making all the sorts of noises to say that they're going to back him, this is a long-term plan, we're going with young talent. Young talent has to be given nothing but time and opportunity to be able to progress. If they don't give him that, then it's the board that are fucked up. And I don't know if they're prepared to own it themselves that they fucked up if they give him this job. That's why I think a lot of people are like, just chill. Let's see where this goes. We had a guy that's meant to set clubs up for the long term in Louis van Gaal. Moyes was a bad appointment. Let's just fucking forget about that. Louis van Gaal was meant to be a guy that could bring in some star names and also play youngsters and also set the club up like a modern football club, because this guy has been at Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Ajax. He knows how to set a football team up and a club up. We didn't give him the time for the third season to see his plan come to fruition, because the sexy appointment of Jose Mourinho was available and we went with Jose Mourinho. Now, my issue at the time of the appointment of Jose Mourinho is, once you go down this road, it's going to be very difficult to not turn into what Chelsea and Real Madrid have become, which is just a new manager every 9 months. Now, I think the board have made the right noises for once in their fucking life about, okay, We tried something, that didn't work. We have to go back to what Manchester United are about. And doing that with someone that does know what Manchester United are about might be that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the guy to clear the deadwood, which he's definitely done and doing. Invigorate what's going on with the academy and help. Actually, what Ollie's doing is going to help us attract players for 2-3 years from 14, 15-year-olds upwards, which means that the very best prospects in the country and in the world are going to want to come to United because they'll go, well, that manager will give me an opportunity. Because I know players that left United when Jose was appointed because he was like, he's not going to play me, so I'm just fucking going, see in a bit. Now, whether or not that works, whether or not that's something that's down the line, that's how people think. Now, if Ollie doesn't work out, but he's been able to bring in the likes of Greenwood to the age of 20, 21, and he's played 100 games. If he's able to bring Brandon Williams in and make him a first-team player, if he's able to progress the careers of some of these players and actually keep us in the fight a little bit before someone eventually comes in and they're given the final tools and the final pieces of the jigsaw to make us a competitive team. And if we're being real with ourselves, you probably just need to wait for the cycle of City and Liverpool to come to an end. Then sound. I would love to sit here and say, look, we just have one fucking good transfer window. We compete for a treble next season. It's not realistic. You can't sit here and say, fuck it, we'll get the best defenders in, we'll get this, that, and the other in. Because even when you do bring in top players, you look at that 2008 Champions League winning side, it took about 7 years to put that team together. Rio Ferdinand was signed in 2001, and it took him a fair long time to embed and actually look decent. Michael Carrick was the final piece of the jigsaw that came 2 years before that, really. Wayne Rooney was signed in 2004, Cristiano Ronaldo in 2003. It took 4 or 5 years with the greatest manager the world's ever fucking seen for that team to reach its pinnacle and reach its potential. And realistically, it still wasn't doing that until we signed the sideways, backwards, what the fucking hell's he doing? Crab, why has he got the number 16 shirt in Michael Carrick? And fans still fucking complained. It takes a long time for a team. Look at this Liverpool team. Someone told me that Liverpool didn't have Van Dijk and Salah and all of these players when they came and lost at Old Trafford to the 2 Marcus Rashford goals like 18 months ago or something. They did. They had most of the pieces in play. And they still come fourth a distant fucking way off Manchester United a couple of years ago. Sometimes it takes one thing to make a team click. Sometimes it just takes time. It's going to take fucking time. Now, I hope the board do the right thing and give this guy time and give this guy what he needs to make it his own. He's playing with 3 signings that are his. He's playing with some signings that are fucking Sir Alex Ferguson's at the moment. When you look at Liverpool just done their team of the decade, they've got 8 current players in it. The United team of the decade that I saw going round's got Rashford in it, and I'd argue he probably shouldn't even be in it ahead of Berbatov. That tells you the state of what this team's like and what Liverpool's team's like at the moment. We have to be allowed to bring in players that are going to make an impact in the first team. Josie wasn't in his last summer. He signed 3 fucking backups. Ollie has been this summer. He signed 3 players that have gone straight into the first team. If he gets 2 more windows where he signs 2 and 3 players that go straight into the first team, then there is no excuse. If we're 6th and 7th, then I'll be like, look, he's got his team. That's his team. He can't do it. It's time to go. You can't judge him when he's got 30% of a fucking team. And the rest of it's made up by academy players. You know, we were saying this morning, like, when David Moyes took over Manchester United, David Moyes took over the champions of England. David Moyes' decisions was, do I play Rooney or Robin Van Persie up front? Or do I play Hernandez? Do I play Kagawa and Carrick in midfield? Or Paul Scholes? Oh no, Scholes had gone, hadn't he? He had Ryan Giggs still. In defence, he still had Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic. What's all his fucking decisions to make? Do I have to play Ferreira and Fred? Well, yeah, it's either that or you have to play the coach driver because there is no other midfielders. It's incomparable to look at what David Moyes was doing with who he had available and what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing. It's going to take us fucking years to get back to that. So strap in and stop fucking moaning.
All right, then. On that note, let's move forward since Howson got his views across in a very nice, concise package there. We are going to do predicted 11s and talk a little bit more about Aston Villa after we take a quick ad break. Right, then, let's get into predicted 11s. We're getting 4 teams today. You doing a team, Jay?
Yeah, of course.
All right, sweet. Dave, let's start with you, mate. What is your team to play Aston Villa?
I think it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? After what happened in Astana, you've got to David De Gea at the back,
Lad.
Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, and Wan-Bissaka. Oh, I've said him on it. Brandon Williams, sorry. Fred, Pereira, Juan Mata, and then James, Rashford, and Martial. I think he's got to go with that.
Interesting. I think there might be a few people picking the exact same team.
Because it's just going to be exact same.
Everyone's going to be picking the same team. Right, Howson, what's yours?
Are we picking the same? Who did you have in the number 10 then?
Mata was the interesting one.
Juan Mata.
All right, yeah, I think it was the same team. De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Williams, McTominay and Fred, Mata, James, Rashford, Marshall.
I don't think, Dave, you didn't have McTominay, did you?
Yeah, I don't think they'll risk him.
Okay.
Yeah, it just depends on.
I think they'll save him for Wednesday.
Probably a better move, to be honest. But fuck me, Pereira makes want to pull my hair out.
Honestly, I don't understand that guy. I feel like we knew before this season he can't be playing for United.
I don't know, man. He always seems to have a good pre-season and he shows little signs and then you think maybe there's a player there. I don't know, it seems to be like this vicious circle we go through of sort of flattering to deceive a little bit.
I just don't get it. He's not a centre mid, is he?
Mentally, he's a good player. Physically, when he tries to do what he's thinking of, he can't do it.
What does that even mean? Mentally, he's a good player. Mentally, I'm a good player.
Like he's. I'm kind of taking the piss, but I'm being serious as well. He sees the game very well, and he tries to do the right things. He just never executes. His decision making's awful. What did Steve say? He's got decision making of a cat. It's not great. His decision.
Cats,
but he's got that attributes. Is what I would say. He lets himself down a lot, which is a shame.
What's your predicted 11, Adam, mate?
Very similar to the rest. David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, Brandon Williams. I've risked McTominay. Initially, there were reports it wasn't going to be available to Spurs, but then Ollie has said in the last, between the Astana game ending and now, that he is touch and goal for this one. So I think we might squeeze him back in. So I'd go McTominay, Fred, Pereira. I was going to pick Mata, but I'm going to try and go for the points rather than anything else. So go with that. Wow. And then Danny James, Marshall, and Marcus Rashford.
Similar teams all around, Jay.
I need to change something because otherwise mine's just the same as Maka.
It was made easier by his decision to rest everyone as well, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, we sort of know what the team's going to be in this one.
Did Axel take a step forward towards first team, do you reckon?
Yeah, against Spurs, he should be starting, innit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's been a debate for a little while now, hasn't it? And I think the sort of the ones in the Lindelof camp are getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that he's slightly overtook him now, Axel. I'd start him.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to make a little change. I'll go with David De Gea, Adam Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Williams, Fred. I'll go with Matic, McTominay, James, Martial, and Marcus.
Matic might play.
I've just changed it last minute just to be different.
Matic didn't play against Astana.
Mate,
there was some talk
I have the same team as everyone else, so I made a little change. You what?
There was some talk, there may or may not have been talk, that Matic and McKenna had a Barney, and Matic was at training for about 19 minutes yesterday and walked off home. Right, well, probably drove.
That bodes well for my prediction. Then I can see him being a captain against Aston Villa.
Right, opposition.
You may as well put McKenna in your midfield.
Opposition, let's talk about Aston Villa. They spent a lot in the summer. They've not necessarily had an unbelievable season so far, but obviously a lot of new names in there. Jay, who do we need to worry about?
Well, he was scoring goals at the beginning of the season, but they've dried up for him, the Brazilian lad, is it Wesley?
I love a good Brazilian with a name like that. Bernard, Wesley, Fred, Mint. Yeah. Love it.
But you don't think he scored in 5 games, but he's still a handful. I saw him against City, and they're actually, I know they got beat quite convincingly on paper, but they're actually a decent side. They put up a good performance. Grealish, we all know about him, likes to run with the ball, can get in behind defenders as well. He's always a handful.
Would Jack Grealish get in our team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course he would.
Yes.
I'd buy him.
Just ask him.
Like,
I'd buy him tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know like he's the sort of one you go out and buy, but if we had him, you'd play him.
Yeah,
definitely. You'd have him over Pereira, for example.
I like Jack Grealish, yeah.
And he's not one of them as well. He's not soft. He'll get stuck in as well. He's got a little bit about that, a little bit of that in him as well. I was reading that Tom Eaton is in goal for him. That worries me, that, because I remember Tom Eaton. I know that sounds crackers, but do you know what I mean? Tom Eaton, why'd you care? But do you remember when he was at Burnley?
Yeah.
He just had like the best performance by a goalkeeper I've probably ever seen at Old Trafford.
The best performance by a goalkeeper.
He was just like, we were still playing now, we still wouldn't have scored. So yeah, he could have another one of them where he's like man of the match and the crowd get frustrated and it becomes one of those long afternoons that you just don't want to see.
Howson, what do we know about Villa, pal?
They've lost a few games lately, but they've only lost a derby against Wolves, who've turned it round massively so far this season. But they've lost against Liverpool and they've lost against City. Outside of that, they lost to Arsenal away. That was a mad one, to be honest. Was that a Monday Night Football game? I think that was a Monday Night Football game.
They were a bit unlucky there, though, Villa, weren't they, if I remember that one?
A lot of the games have lost. They've been leading and should have won. They lost against Spurs, should have won.
I expect a high-scoring game here. I think it's like 2-1, 3-2, something along those lines. And I think it could really swing either way, which it shouldn't. But we've got to be real, man. We are not the vintage of anything at the minute, and we are fucking pretty ordinary, especially without Pogba and especially without McTominay. If you've got to rely on Pereira and Fred's decision-making in the middle, they'll just watch that Sheffield United game and just press him because he'll fucking give you the ball back all day long. I expect us to have a little bit more of the ball. They do like to play a little bit on the counter. That worries me. That's why I went with Juan Mata as the number 10. You want to see someone that can play a ball when we get it. If you can get in behind them, which you can with the pace of the three lads that we've got, you just got to have someone that can put the ball there. And that's where we miss Pogba the most. Everyone knows what McGinn and what's it's about, Grealish. They create chances and they graft and they work hard. Dean Smith's not had the plaudits, I don't think. I mean, obviously Wilder's higher up in the table, but he's doing bits with a pretty ordinary 11, really. So I think we're in for a tough game. It's going to be a battle. I think it'll be a good game, though. I think it'll be a great game. I don't think you can read much into the Newcastle game because Newcastle are well shit. And before you all, I know they beat us, but they are well shit. So, I don't know. I think we can get a victory here, but I do think it's going to be a high-scoring, bit of a basketball game, I reckon. Bit end-to-end.
Dave, what do we have to do to make sure we get the victory against Aston Villa, pal?
We've already talked about him, but Jack Grealish, you just got to stop him because when he's playing for Villa, he wants to win at all costs. You know, being a local lad and supporting the team, they're the players you want in your team. It's like our Marcus Rashford. You know, when he plays for us, he wants to win, he wants to score. And especially against United, I know we're not the team we were, but to Jack Grealish, we're Man United and he wants his team to beat us. But I think we should also look out James Chester as well, ex-United player. He's going to want to prove something. I think if he's playing at the back, he'll be defending like mad. So if we need to really isolate him. And
does he play alongside Tyrone Mings now?
I think he does, yeah. I'm not, but he's just one of them. He never made it for the first team, but he was always there or thereabouts. And players like that, they always come back to bite you.
He went to Hull for a bit, didn't he? Was it Hull?
Yeah. But yeah, and he's Welsh international as well, so he's a decent enough player. And I just think he'll be trying to stop the attack no matter what, put his life on the line for it. So if we can sort him out, I think we'll be all right.
Adam, Aston Villa, who is the main threat? Obviously Grealish. Yeah, anyone else?
Jack is. I think John McGinn's a good player as well.
A good shout as well.
I think if we're without McTominay and without Pogba, their midfield's probably better than us, which is mental, really, isn't it? Considering they've just been promoted, but a midfield with McGinn and Grealish just ahead of it in there is always going to cause anybody problems. John McGinn's been linked with the club as well an awful lot, and it wouldn't surprise me if he came here, put in a performance and treated it like an audition. So those guys are obviously big threats. Tyrone Mings at the back. I remember him coming and having a big clash with Zlatan Ibrahimovic at Old Trafford, which was fun to watch. So he's been doing well for them at the back, and he's really coming of age there as well, which is interesting. Like Jay said, Tom Eaton, was it that Burnley game that was 0-0, and he just saved absolutely everything. So he has got it in his locker. Again, another one that came through at United. And it's just it's going to be a tricky game, but I'm hoping with Aston Villa, newly promoted, they're back in the Premier League, back at Old Trafford, they're going to really want to beat us, and I'm hoping that means they'll leave some gaps open elsewhere for us to exploit. It could be an open end-to-end game, no, like Cesar.
Absolutely. So, score predictions, everyone. It's going to be a high-scoring one, possibly this one. I'm going to go 4-2 United.
Even though I'm loath to go with clean sheets United, I'm just going to go with a 1-0. I know.
All right. Dave, what's your score, mate?
I think we're going to win 2-1 after being 1-0 down.
Take that. Adam?
3-1 United.
And Steve?
3-2.
I think 3-2 sounds quite right. It's going to be tight. Guys, get your comments in below. What do you think of the game? Are we going to absolutely smash it against Aston Villa? We really need to, because we've got some tough games coming up. Subscribe to Full Time Devils. Give this video a like, and we'll catch you next time in a bit. Laters.